What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Thanks for coming to my stream. Jetpack Compose continues. It burned under my nails. I wanted to get back into Jetpack Compose, so that's why I'm throwing in this impromptu Sunday stream. And I hope that the stream titles have updated the metadata, so you may or may not have already seen what's gonna happen. But I am going to start a new project with Jetpack Compose today. I'm kind of done with the travel app. I used it to explore just the basic and fundamental APIs of Compose. But I feel like without the proper data connection and like an API to really give us well-structured data, I didn't feel like honing my API implementation skills for like server backend stuff. So that's why I decided to put that project on hold and start a new project. And yeah, the title will have given it away already. I will be building a card game. I've been playing a lot of like every once in a while. There's just some video games that I know I can play until the end of time, pretty much. I'm always gonna be having fun playing them. And one of those games is Final Fantasy VIII. Most of the Final Fantasies I can just play. And I do play once a year. And they just take turns. I feel like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of in the mood to play this again, and then put the hours in them. I know them in and out, but it's still so much fun every time. And so Final Fantasy VIII has this card game, mini game inside of it. And I want to build that. I remember back in like middle school, really, among my first real programming experiences, I used a tool called the RPG Maker, and I used a version of it called RPG Maker 2000, and it had this really basic command structure with which you could write scripts and like logic, and like you had a button, and then if you click that button there would be an if statement, and then you can have really basic arithmetic to like drive something. And I built the card game from Final Fantasy VIII using this very restricted scripting language of the RPG Maker. And that was so much fun, and it has been a lot of time since then. And I feel like I want to do it from my current level of experience. I want to do it with a real programming language. I want to do it in a real environment. And, maybe there's going to be a product at the end of this, So that's what this stream and the subsequent streams are going to be all about. It's going to be about writing a card game based on a predefined set of rules, kind of porting these rules to Android using Jetpack Compose. And who knows where it's going to end up. I'd like to get into Kotlin multi-platform, so maybe this is going to be a project where the game logic is going to be in the common and shared code, and then Android will implement the UI using Jetpack Compose, and then maybe I have an iOS client, So that's kind of what's on the horizon here, but I don't want to get ahead of myself too quickly. Just real quick, I want to real quickly explain the rules of this game, and then I'm going to show you what I've built so far. I've done a very small experiment, just a proof of concept of one of the core things that I want this game to do. And then I will just dabble in the UI some more. So this stream is going to be focusing on the UI of this card game, but I do need to start explaining the logic first, just the rules. I have also written a bunch of game logic already, but I'm not going to focus on that today. But I will need to show you these rules, and I feel like the tests are a good way to do that. So this is a new project, completely new. what I did is I set it up with Jetpack Compose Alpha 5. What I also did was I set up a bunch of data classes to hold the models that the game is comprised of, and I wrote a basic entry point for a composable UI, but it doesn't really do anything. It's just a white background and there's a red square on top of it. That's it. Okay, so, and I did write a bunch of unit tests which are already running, which is good. Just real quick, I need to check my sound preferences. It's really weird, but my Mac seems to, okay, that should be better, seems to adjust the audio levels like before every stream, and I forgot to manually arrange them today. Okay, right, so what is this game? It's called I'm not sure what my version is going to be called, probably due to like rights. I'm probably not going to name it the same as the role model that I'm modeling after, but the original is called Triple Triad, and again, it's the card game from Final Fantasy VIII. It's a very basic card game, and I recently found out that it has seen a resurgence in a later Final Fantasy game, which I have not played because it's an online-only game. So it has come to Final Fantasy XIV as well, which is kind of cool. So it has had this resurgence, and my version is gonna leverage the additions to the rule set that the Final Fantasy XIV version made. I'm gonna take those into account as well, because I feel like most of them are really good additions to the game. All right, so very long story short, what is Triple Triad all about? I'm going to show you by opening a unit test class. So let me try to explain it using this table here. Right, so Triple Triad is played by two players who have a hand of 5 cards each. So there's 10 cards in the game as a whole. And the players take turn putting one of their cards into an empty slot of a 3x3 grid or a board. And so player 1 picks one card and puts it into a slot, like on one of the fields of the board. And then the next player is gonna put one of their cards on an empty field on the same board. And they take turns until the board is filled up. And then the player with more cards in their possession wins. Now, you can see here there's this 3x3 grid, and this is just the empty state, so nothing is in there. And then here is a unit test where I'm trying to figure out like how does the board look like when some certain cards are placed. So this is a helper class that I built, which takes in a board and it prints out nicely in a pretty way what the current state of the board is. Okay, so you can see here 3 of the cells have stuff in them, and each field is representing of 1 card. A card has 4 values. They're called, in my version, they're called the north, west, east, and south values, and they're integer values from 1 to 10. And so they're numeric values from 1 to 9, and 10 is represented with the letter A. Okay, so what you can see here in this example is that first row, center column, there's a card placed which has 7 pointing up, 6 pointing left, 2 pointing right, and 4 pointing down. These 2 lines in the middle, that's Roman numeral 2. I'm using that in the helper class to denounce, to say that that's a card that's in possession of player 2 at this time. So that means this card belongs to player 2. Below it is another card, and it has a 6 pointing up, and it belongs to player 1. Indicative of that is the Roman numeral 1 in the center. So let's assume that this card at the top is placed first, and then player 1 places this card in the middle. Using the default rules, this card is gonna fight against that card. Its neighbor, pretty much. And the adjacent values will be compared against one another. So player 1's 6 is compared against the existing card's south value of 4. In this instance here, this would mean that player 1 would take over the card above it. Because 6 is greater than 4, this would mean that basically player 1 would get this card as well. And then they're both cards controlled by player 1. So that's pretty much how the basic rules work. There's a lot of additional rules that go into, like, you kind of have to do some math to figure out other rules that would apply and like change control over cards, but that's just the basic, the bare minimum pretty much. Here at the end is another example where a board is filled. So that's what it looks like when there's 9 cards. I'm using a helper class here. I'm using Jake Wharton's table printer. I think it's called Table Flip library, because I feel like that helped me a lot trying to visualize these boards. And going forward, this is what I'm gonna use for just visualizing game state at any point in time. This is a test-only dependency. I'm not gonna use that in actual UI code, but yeah, for tests it's fine. All right, so that's the basic idea. In terms of UI, this is eventually going to look something like this. So this is how the Final Fantasy XIV version looks like. So in the middle you have a board, the board with 3x3 fields, and then on the left and then on the right you have the 5 cards of either opponent. And placing a card on the board will of course remove it from the hand, and it's placed on the board, and the colors, you cannot see the right player's cards here, but basically the background of a card describes who it belongs to. So one player is blue, the other player is red. These cards are all blue, but if you would place a card and its control is changed over the course of the game, the background will change to red, for instance. And if you win it back, then it's back to blue. So that is the basic rule set. Now, what do I want to do today? I haven't done any UI design because I literally thought of this idea last night when I was playing. I was like, I kind of wanna build something. I kind of want to build this thing again. So what I envision the UX of this is, I mean, the form factor of a phone is kind of perfect for this layout, right? I mean, you can imagine this screenshot to be just what a phone would look like in landscape. You have the board in the middle, cards to the left, cards to the right, that's it. If you flip it to portrait, then maybe the board is in the middle and then you have your opponent's cards on the top and your own are on the bottom, something like that. So that's just the basic UI. I won't deal with the actual, like, nicely looking UI. I won't be doing that for a while because I want to get the UX feeling right first. Because I want, we're on a touch screen, so might as well tap and hold on the card and just drag it to where you want it to be. And this sort of dragging motion, I want to find out if Jetpack Compose works really nicely with that. I want to be able to move cards around on the board and then just make them snap into a place on the grid. So that's the first step. Once I get that working, I'm going to be doing game logic development on the side off stream, unless it's really, there's a lot of interest coming in from y'all. I will be doing that on the side and then eventually connect the two together. Right, so very long story short, I've been talking for 16 minutes and I have not done a single line of code. Cool, so what do I have? As I said, I did a couple experiments just to learn if this is feasible at all. So I have done a bit of the dragging, drag and drop logic already. Or more the dragging than the dropping, to be honest. But all right, so my main entry point is a main activity. I have a custom theme. Excuse me. And the main content is just a surface, and then I'm using the game screen for now. And this is a composable, which is just a box. And thinking about this now, might make sense to just remove this outer box because I have the draggable box here. So draggable box is a component that I wrote myself, and it allows me to drag around the content of drag around its content. So a draggable box is a UI component, a composable that can be dragged around by finger, pretty much. So we're gonna explore that in a bit. It has a position, just temporary stuff here, nothing is refined. And then it accepts a content. So draggable box is just a container that can be moved around by finger touch. And then whatever is inside of it will get dragged around with it. So let me show you what that looks like. Let me build this app and put it on my screen. And then I'm gonna go through what the draggable box can do right now and where I want it to end up. Okay, so here it is. Cool. And so as you can see, my UI is already done. No, just kidding. I mean, it's just a proof of concept. So the white thing is the box, the outer box, and then the red square or like rectangle here, that is the draggable box, or like rather the contents of the draggable box. So what I can do is I can use my finger and just tap and hold on this and just move it around the screen. You can see that I can just move this around. And as long as I'm pressing on the screen, it will follow my finger. When I let go, it moves back to its original position. That is it. That is all the logic that I wrote so far. So I can move this around. You can see it responds to my touch a bit. So as soon as I drag it, it'll become like bigger, which is kind of nice. And then when I let go, it snaps back to its previous position. Okay, so how does this work? How does draggable box work? So it accepts an initial position and a content composable lambda, which actually has a parameter, and the parameter says it's true if the user is currently touching that particular box, and it's false if they aren't. This is going to be eventually a state, like data class probably, but for now a Boolean is enough. Right, so this has a few variables. This has a few variables for holding state. I'm holding offset state and in either direction, X and Y. And the initial position will dictate where that thing is on screen initially. And then offset, the states here, the offset states, will dictate how far from that initial position the card has moved, pretty much. Again, this is gonna change eventually, probably. I have a state to keep track of the dragging. So yeah, true if dragging, false otherwise. And then I'm preparing something for animation. So this was really cool. Earlier I tried this out. I wanted to make a card behave differently when you're dragging it as opposed to when you're letting go. So when I'm dragging this, I want the card to follow my finger really closely. So what I did is I defined an animation spec with a very high stiffness. And that means that the spring, like the physics animation behind it, will not give a lot of leeway. The card almost sticks to my finger. When I let go, however, the animation was way too quick because it used the same stiffness. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a different animation spec when I let go of the card. And I did that by defining two anim specs, and they have different stiffnesses here. So while dragging, I use stiffness high. When letting go, I called that drop anim spec. I use stiffness low. And this variable defines the anim spec that is being used at any given point in time. If I'm dragging, it's gonna be the drag anim spec. Otherwise, it's gonna be the drop anim spec. And this will give us the different physics behaviors, because this variable here is being passed to the animate function. And these offsets are literally the offset on screen that I'm animating to. So that was really cool. I wasn't sure if that was going to work, but it actually is working. So that's just amazing. Then I put everything inside a box, and the box has a modifier. Thinking about this more, I probably want to make this configurable from the outside, so might as well pass this in. And I'm using the offset modifier, giving in the 2 animated values. So this is going to recompose while I am dragging around. And it's animating around smoothly. Earlier I had it differently, but it was really choppy when I moved the finger around really quickly. So now I'm using the animated values here. And then the star of this whole thing is the drag gesture filter. I forgot the equivalent name in the viewland. Maybe like I think it is drag gesture filter too. But like this is a callback which is being called as I press on a composable and then calls the callbacks while I'm dragging it around. So when my finger touches the red square, on start is called, and all that does is it sets the dragging flag to true, and then as I'm dragging this along, it will call on drag repeatedly, and the parameter here, the drag distance, is going to be the delta compared against the last time it was called. So when I'm doing this really quickly, then the drag distance is really, really high, whereas if I'm just dragging this really slowly, then these values are pretty small, which is pretty nice. And then finally, when I let go, on stop is called. And what I'm doing here in the on stop method is I reset the state values to their initial position, just making that thing animate back over time to its original position. Okay, cool. So that's that. And then the content is being emitted inside the box. So my goal for now is that I want to get a really, really rough design, quote unquote, the biggest air quotes you can imagine, a rough design for a card. So I want to connect a card to the red rectangle, and I want to render the north, west, east, and south values in that card. So that's what I'm going to do first. And then after, I want to flesh out the game screen a bit, making room for 5 cards on the bottom, 5 cards at the top, and then a board in the middle. And that's gonna be the first impetus for me to also consider different configurations. And I want to check, what does compose do when a configuration change happens? Like, how do I make sure that the game state stays where it was? How do I do, like, if landscape, else do some other thing? But until then, there's a bunch of more stuff that we need to do. All right, so let's go. So I made it so the red square is 160 dips, or like 140. I don't remember actually. It's 160 while dragged. It's 120 if it's not dragged. Okay. And then I have a certain aspect ratio here. So I think the aspect ratio is fine. I'm not sure if this is going to be the size that the cards are eventually going to end up in, but I don't really need to worry about it right now because it's going to be flexible anyway. So when I'm clicking, it's going to be bigger and it's going to expand. So I'm going to make this flexible enough so that we can deal with different sizes. So I'm gonna do the card. My model class is already called card, so I don't want to call this card as well. I think I'm gonna do, I want to do card UI. Card composable, card. Let's do card component first. I don't like that name at all, but it's okay. And it's gonna get a parameter of dragging, so I'm just gonna move everything in here. Gonna move that down here for testing. Okay, and then here my content is now just gonna be a card component. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I need all of this to be inside card component, because the card itself is gonna be draggable. So in the box here, I will put a card component like this. Okay, this gets a round bracket, and oh wait, I'm messing it up. that's better. So a card component will get, it'll get like, I don't know, an index, like what number in the controlling player's hand is it. It's gonna get a state object eventually, but for now I will just get this connected like so. I'll give it a card, which is the model class, and I'll give it the index, which denounces if it's like card number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And I won't deal with like different states just yet. I'll just want to get the UI of this working first. So let's create a random card. So this is my test card. And so a card has different values. It has an ID, which I don't need right now, just an internal thing. It has a name. I'm just gonna name this monster. Oh yeah, I'm using inline classes here. It has an image URL. Again, I don't have this set up at all, so I'm just gonna use some random value for now. And then finally, it has card values. So card values is interesting from a logic standpoint because I'm using a single integer to define all of the 4 cardinal directions. They're all encoded in one single number. And I'm not sure, it's really pre-optimizing, I feel like, but I wanted to do some bit logic and it was just fun, you know? So I'm encoding inside a short, actually. It's just 16 bits that I need. I'm encoding the 4 card values. And so what we have is a builder function called card values off. And it takes in the 4 cardinal directions, north, west, east, and south. And those denounce how good the card is in either direction. So we have, like, say, 8. Let me actually look at the screenshot that I have open here. Let me just copy one of those cards. So let's do this guy. So he has north is 8, west is 7, east is 1, and south is 4. Okay. A card is going to have more properties eventually. There's also like ranks. So a card can be of rank 1 all the way up to rank 5, but way in the future. We're not even closely there yet. Okay, so card component, index 0, and I'm going to give it the test card. And honestly, the index isn't even going to matter for a long while. Cool. Let's also give it an idea of if it's controlled by player 1 or 2. So I have an inline class called player ID. It wraps around the string. And I'm just gonna say player 1. Again, game logic is gonna need a hell of a lot of polish. This is just for testing. So let me define these real quick. So I have player 1. It's gonna be player ID of player 1. I have the same for player 2. And then I'm giving it player 1, player 1's ID here. I changed my mind. I will give it the background color explicitly, and I will just say if I'm just gonna say color blue. There's going to be some logic above that will say any card belonging to player 1 will get this color. Everything belonging to player 2 will get this other color. Okay, but this should deal mainly with the data models and actually UI properties. Not really, shouldn't have any logic and saying like if else. There's no place here for that. So let's do like this. Background color will be set like this. It has a certain width, which I kind of want. Not sure if I want to... I think I will make this accept a modifier from the outside, and draggable box will get this. And then I will get rid of this width, the hard-coded width. That'll make me lose the ability to make it bigger though. Let's keep it like that. I'm still gonna allow parent to modify the modifiers. Right, so the rest I don't really care about just yet. So I'm gonna do a clip here. I kind of forget this all the time, so I'm not sure still if clip or background should come first. Let's try. Should be very subtle. I see that these cards have a really fancy outline, a really fancy shape. So maybe it'll definitely be fun exploring a custom shape implementation rather than just like round corners or whatever. Okay, so we have it in blue, and we do have the round corners. And then this does kind of look like a card already. Might be a bit too wide, but it's fine. Yeah, dragging still works the same. And because this is getting a blue background color, that's what it's being used. Right, so, okay, let's get rid of this. So let me pull up a screenshot of the original video game version, because in the remake, quote unquote, the cardinal values are put bottom center, and they're kind of hard to read, I think, especially for the top cards here, where the images are really busy. In the original, I think it was done in a better way. So let me pull that up, because I think I want to follow that design a bit more closely when it comes to the card values. Let me check. As soon as I accept this cookie warning, that is. Okay. So here's an example. Move in. Okay, so here's an example. So here we have the values in top left alignment, and I think I will follow that. The text has a very thick outline, which I also like. It'll enhance the readability of the values. So I think this is what I'm gonna use as my reference. And I'm not even sure. I think the gradient here is too strong, but I do like the idea of having a gradient in the background. This is just a flat color. I don't like that as much. But okay. So let's put some text for the cardinal directions. Let me make another composable that says card values component. We'll get the actual card values. Is a composable, of course. And it'll get a modifier. Okay, so I'm putting that here. Modifier is gonna be align. Alignment is gonna be top start. And the card values are gonna be given through the model. So, oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm giving the entire card, not just the card values. Because I have operator functions that will that allow to like get one cardinal direction by use of like the map-like syntax. So if I do this, for instance, so like card square brackets dir for direction dot north, then I will get let me get back to the design. Card dir north would mean we will get the 4, the value pointing upwards. That's the north value of this card. And this is what we would get when we use this syntax here. And on the same token, we have west and east and south, of course. Cool. Right, so how do I arrange these 4 numbers? They are text, of course. I'm not sure if I want to do 4 text components or just 1, which has new lines in it. I feel like I'm not sure about the resource intensity of having 4. I'm again thinking in viewland. I'm not sure if 4 text composables with 1 value each are heavier than 1 text composable that has new lines in it. You would think that the 1 would be less intense. Let's try. Let's try with 1. So it's gonna be text with text inside, and the text is gonna be so I'm gonna do the first line first, so it's gonna be a white space and then the north direction, and we have a display name which maps the value into a string, and it'll replace the 10 with the letter A. That's what that does. So then we have new line, and then second line will be west cardinal space display name space east cardinal. This is an ugly line. And then we have another new line, space, and then we have south. Display name. Right. And this will get the modifier, of course, that I'm passing in. And it needs some special styling. So I'm assuming that these will not really line up correctly. So I would like it if I'm using like a monospace typeface or something. So I'm gonna do that. I'll check. Is there by default a monospace font style? Hello? Oh. Forgot the comma. Okay, there's just italic and normal. Hold on. Is there... There's font family. Yeah. Okay, let's try the monospace. Let's do I have border? Do not. Oh, I do have text decoration. Maybe a border is text decoration. Underline, line through. Nope. Okay, yeah, I gotta check how we would do the border around the text, because I do want this to be like white text with a black border. But to be honest, I'm not even sure how you do a border in Viewland. Okay, so I'm gonna give this more padding, just 8 dips or something, so it's not tucked in the corner. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, one optimization, well, hopefully it's an optimization that I did for this project as opposed to the travel app is I raised the min SDK version of this to 29 so that my Android 10 device can like still use it, of course, but also I hope that the compile times are going to be better because we can make use of more advanced stuff. That's my hope anyway. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So it's already okay. Text color doesn't match. Could be thicker. And I think 8 dips are... It can be 8 horizontally, but vertically I don't want 4. I don't want 8, I want 4. Right, yeah, and then text style. Color. Let's just do color white. But how do I do border? I wonder. And also let me check if I can give this a thicker font weight and have the monospace font react accordingly. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, I think this is now thicker font. I do like the padding more. Okay, yeah. So the text itself does not enlarge when the card gets bigger, but that makes sense because I'm not using a different font size. I wonder if it would make sense to not have this animate over the size, but rather like... I am using elevation already, but it doesn't like make the card bigger. Is there like zoom? There's zoomable, but no, that's not really what I want. It's like scale. I guess the thing I'm looking for is scale, not size. So let's do card scale, and then if I'm dragging the card, then it's gonna be scale 1F. Otherwise, it's gonna be 0.8F. And then I will give this a fixed value of 140 dips or something. And then the draw layer will get scale X, scale Y. Shadow elevation, might as well make that even bigger because I do like the shadow effect that happens, at least for now. Let's see what happens when we do it like this. Yeah, that's better. Now the card also like moves outward. Like it doesn't just extend to the right and bottom. It literally goes up. It does look like it's going up now. And the text also gets bigger. I like that more. Okay. Right. Let me see. Let me do a quick Google on how text borders work in general Android, because I cannot for the life of me remember. Does that even work? Yeah, Stack Overflow, save me. You can set a shape drawable as background for the view. Wait, what? No, I'm not using a night. No. Okay, so I guess border is not the right term. I want to have like outline. Is there a simple way to have text be able to have a black outline? I have text views that will be different colors, but some of the colors don't show up on my background so well, so I was wondering if there's an easy way. You can put a shadow behind the text, which can often help readability. Okay, yeah, we could do the Photoshop trick of having like a really small shadow, which is like overfilled 100%, so it goes like to the edges and has no outline effect can be achieved using a shadow. Okay, let me try that. Try to translate that into Compose Land. I guess that would be part of the modifier chain. Oh. Wait, maybe shadow elevation. There is a draw shadow modifier. I wonder what's different between... Huh. Is this dips? It is dip. Oh, that's perfect. I was looking for a dip version of... shadow. The thing is, this is gonna be... I can't really control this. Shadow DX, shadow DY, shadow radius. Maybe I can find something for Jetpack Compose specifically. What is the default translucency here? Opacity 1. So it doesn't work because it has a shape of rectangle shape, and it just draws a rectangle around my text composable, but I want it around the text itself. But for the card itself, it does seem to work. It's just I'd like it to be more visible, to be honest. I'm gonna try more. Maybe it's too much, actually. Maybe I just need like 2. But for here, it doesn't work. Can't use it for the text. Okay, it's gotta be more. Let's do 12. Try again. Right. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. But I'm afraid that the outline for the text is not gonna work. Maybe I will need to go and define like some vector resource or something. Or even image resource for like the different digits that have an outline around them, because I'm not sure. This is okay, but as soon as I put an image behind, not sure if it's gonna be as okay. So let's do a gradient. I did talk to Leland about the gradient situation that I had for my travel app. asking about. Wait, I can pull this up even. So about the diagonal gradient at the top, and I asked him if I used it correctly, and also with regards to these gradients here, where I just kind of in a hacky way used draw layer to like rotate the canvas, then draw the gradient, and then rotate it back. And he said that I could look into a modifier called draw with cache to make something like that work. I hope I don't have to do it here, but he also said that he was gonna use the feedback and also his own experiences and take that back into the API team. So maybe there's gonna be some changes coming to the gradient API, which is nice. Because I feel like they're a bit lacking in a certain way when it comes to maybe dip-based gradients or even percentage-based. That would be great. That would be gradient. Sorry, couldn't resist. Okay. So, I want to go and try out with an image, with an actual image. So if I go to my like screenshot reference here, you can see that these monsters or the characters on the cards, they seem to be transparent images, and then the background color is drawn behind it, so it can be changed. It can be blue, it can be red, and the images would need to be defined as PNG or WebP, whatever has transparency, and then put and clipped on the cards. So let me try and quickly draw up an image that we can use for our test card here. Alright, I'm gonna switch to the face cam for a bit because I need to open Photoshop, and that can take a minute. Alright, so here we are in my Photoshop. It's in German, don't mention it. It's fine, you don't see anything. Right, so I'm gonna quickly try and find a test image that I can use. I will actually use a character from Final Fantasy, but eventually when I am actually gonna do this in a way that doesn't involve, like if I actually want to publish this, then I probably won't use any IP that exists. But for testing, I'm just gonna throw in this little guy here and put him on the card. So I do like the framing of these cards. They kind of clip, like they're not showing the entire, the full character. It's just like their portraits, aside from maybe this like Griffon kind of thing on the bottom right. So what I could do is I could just make these images clip by default, and then this would be the clip that you'd see. But I feel like we can do that with Compose, so we can just use this image as a whole and then clip it ourselves. Maybe I'll even put in a coil image again, because I feel like that worked pretty well. So need to give it transparency. Yeah, this will do. All right. Saving that real quick to a folder. Okay, this will do. So we have the assets folder now, and here's our PNG. So I'm gonna add that to my resources. Oh, I don't have. I didn't import the correct plugin that I usually use for like automatically defining the different sizes and whatnot. So I guess for now I'll do. It's just a test image, so I'm just gonna use this as XSHTPI. Whatever. Okay. So let's do this guy. Cool. So it needs to go into the background. So image comes first in the card, and then we put the values on top. So what I will need to do is I will need to open my travel app real quick, because I want to get the dependency for coil image. This one, accompanist. I hope that doesn't destroy my memory now that I had another instance open for a second. Let's see. It's okay so far, so let's sync. It seems like my machine is much better at handling the load of Android Studio and Gradle today than it was last stream. So maybe the rebooting before a stream works wonders. I also got rid of a lot of tabs in my Google Chrome and whatnot, so maybe that helped. Alright, so let's get this dependency in here, and then we can use coil image. And with coil image, I think we should be okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's not even a remote image, so I guess we don't even need coil image yet. Let me try and see if I can use the normal image composable. It will need to be a remote source eventually, but maybe not right now. Let's do here, let's go here and then say drawable or image asset, is it? Image resource? Image resource. Okay. This is not our drawable. It's a drawable rest, so I feel like this will resolve. Did I misspell this? No. Weird that it cannot find it. Might be an AAPT thing, which will be resolved as soon as I build. Right, modifier. I'm gonna make this fill max size. And I will also give it a content scale of crop. Oh, that's cool. Fill height, fill width. Let's make this fill height. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Let's try it. Let's hope that it will resolve my drawable reference. Okay, this might take a bit longer because I updated a dependency. Okay, could not resolve it. Have I forgotten how to declare a resource? So R. Oh, wait, what? What was that? That's not the R that I want. Okay. So Compose still ships with their own R, I guess? Or maybe that's intentional, I don't know. Do I have a star import anywhere? Oh, I do. Okay. My Android Studio seems to be configured to star import if too much stuff is being pulled in from one package. Well, that just bit me because the R class then was taken from Foundation Layout as well. And there's no cactuar in there, of course, so. Right, let's try this again. Okay, here it is. That looks goofy. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, looks nice. I hate the tone of the blue, to be honest, but alas, it's a test color. I do much prefer the reddish tint of the Final Fantasy XIV, like the real version, but that's fine. Yeah, nice. Let's try and build a border. Let's try and build a border around the card, because it looks a bit barren just with the blue and nothing else. And I also want to find a different shade of blue. Okay. Let's do that. So here's my theme. Here's my color. I would like for Android Studio to get an inspector, kind of like the normal drawable resources or like color resources have, where it shows the color in like a small preview on the side. Because I don't know what that color is. How am I supposed to know that? So what I'm gonna do is, it's weird that I would still define this here and then duplicate it here and not reference it. It's weird. Okay, yeah, so this inspector is what I was looking at. So let me pick this color. No, that's not it. Let me pick. It's not letting me pick from my other screen. Let me move over my Chrome window. Oh, that's weird. Dang it. All right, and it moves back. All right, we're gonna use the material 500. I like this color for player 1. So let's do... No, wait. What did I do? Okay, I'm gonna do player 1. Let's use this one. And then for player 2, we'll use this one. Okay, now we have so that was red 500, 600, 700. Oh, actually, I don't need those. Red and then blue. 700 is gonna be this color. Yeah, so I feel like this is a step that could be removed just by having the same inspector available here as it is here. In that case, I wouldn't need to actually create these colors in XML and then copy them over. Okay, so these I don't need anymore. Cool, red, blue. Yeah, so let's take the blue 700. Let's try again. And then we're gonna build a border. It's too dark. Yeah, I like that better. I do like how this drag feels. It's really cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me try the red. Just real quick, I want to see how the red feels. And then we can move on. Oh, what the hell? I didn't copy everything from this. Yeah. I did see something just now. Do I need to draw the shadow first? Because it felt like there was a shadow, but it didn't scale properly with when the card itself did, and that's why the shadow didn't look as convincing. Okay, so here's a, it's kind of a, I kind of like the effect. So there's this, like it moves up, and then the shadow kind of like jumps from outward into it. That's not intended, but I kind of dig it. I don't know why that happens, but it kind of looks cool. It's not a bug. It's a feature. I'll leave it like that. All right, let's generate a few more cards and put them at the top so I have multiple targets to drag around. And then I'll create a 3x3 grid in the middle. Keep disabling the wrong layer in my OBS. Okay, so card component. Okay, so I'm generating 5 cards now. And I will try and start taking into account the index and define the position of the card itself. So this is gonna be... changing the background depending on... Okay. Right, so the thing is, I need to know... I'm focusing on portrait mode, for starters. I will need to know the screen width, because I need to know where I can place these cards on screen. Because I have to give it... I'm currently giving him an offset, and 200 is X, and then the other 200 is Y. The Y offset can kind of stay like it is, but I'm probably gonna make it 100 so it moves up a bit. But the thing is, I need to place them next to each other. So I will... I will calculate the current, the initial X position for this card. And I will... Still not happy that I'm putting the player ID in here, but that's architecture stuff that I'm gonna deal with later. Right, so I need the screen width. Where do I get that from in Compose? There's gotta be an ambient for that. If this is anything like the real configuration in the normal Android world, then I'm gonna get it from here. Yeah, there you go. Cool. Okay. So I'm dividing screen width by 5, because there's 5 cards next to each other. And then I'm gonna multiply it with the index, right? So, I'm not sure if I need the brackets here, but... Okay, I don't. That should work. So the first one is gonna get 0. Second one is gonna get 1/3 of the, well, 1/5 of the screen width, and 2/5, so on. Then I'm gonna get initial X. Oh, what's wrong? Okay, well that is in dip, so that might be a problem. The screen width is given in dip, so I might need to convert that into pixels for this particular offset. Because the offset takes pixels, I think, not dips. Okay, yeah, that did not work. That looked like this. And I think that is because it is not in pixels. So I should be able to get the density from here. I did that before, and I'm gonna grab the density value here, and I will... Well, I need to divide that by the density, and then by... Okay, let's try that. Whoops, that's even worse. Maybe I need to multiply it? Wait, dips 2 pixels. How do I get dips 2 pixels? So if this is dip, then how do I give this like 2 pixels? Can I convert that to pixels? I feel like I've seen that before. But the thing is, it... Like this value, right? This is a dip value. So if I make this dip, can I not convert this? Let me try and just quickly... quickly print this out. I wanna see. $411. So that is definitely the dip value of my phone. So if I make that dip, it's an integer for a reason. Because I guess this bridges the configuration class from Android. So if I give this .dip, then it will probably stay 411. Yes. So how do I convert that into pixels? To retrieve the pixel size of a dip, use 2 I just tried that, didn't I? Wait. Did I not just write that though? Windmill dip, 2 picks. There's no method like that. Okay, so it says it cannot find the declaration of 2 px to go to. Where's it supposed to be coming from? Okay. Okay. I just found a thing, a page which says that I guess this is applied on the density. Whoa, what's happening? On the density ambient? Okay. Right. So this is how you would get it. So with the ambient in scope, this is a extension method on the density probably. Yeah. Okay, I see. Oh, makes sense. Okay. Right. In that case, now I can probably do what I wanted. Just divide that by 5. And then multiply by index at the end. Right, let's try that. Okay. Okay, it does not take into account the width of the individual element. Honestly, I feel like it's alright for them to overlap in like this in the final game, but they should be more a bit more structured. Okay, so for index 0, the actual offset is 0. So it's weird that it wouldn't... Oh, well, I guess that depends... Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, I see. In this case, let me do something else. I'm gonna redefine how the scaling works. So before I had it, I had, like right now, the smaller state is the one. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so the reason that works now is, oh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting. So it doesn't expand beyond its... Like, it does scale up, but the card itself doesn't. I might put the draw layer at the very end, because I think the clip is being applied, was applied after the draw layer. And since order matters, I think this now should be okay. Nope, still the same. Oh, and in fact, it even looks weirder now. Okay, maybe I am gonna change it back then. Because I did like that it was at least shrinking and growing in size. I think I don't care about the real placement of these for now. All that matters is that they're like placed somewhere. Okay, the order is wrong again. What order did I have them in though? I think scaling must... I think it's just that scaling must come before. Well, to be honest, this also looks kind of cool. If it stays the same, but its content just moves in. That also looks kind of nice. What I would like to do is, I would like to set the Z index. Yeah, now these will scale in their entirety again. But the thing is, if I now place this, I can still move it because this is added. This is added first, and then the others are. This looks weird. Like if I touch something, it should go all the way. Like its Z index should be off the hook, pretty much. So, speaking of which, is there a Z index modifier? Jetpack Compose is it's just amazing, really. Very intuitive in most ways. Let's just say in most ways. Let's see if that is actually what's happening. So if dragging, I don't need this to animate. So if we are dragging this, it should be, I don't know, 100, else 0. I don't know, let's try. Okay, that did not work. I mean, this thing is still on top of everything because it was added last, but this thing was added first and it's still below the others. I feel like this is a challenge that Alex Lockwood had to solve with his 2048 implementation, because there the grid tiles like all move around so much that there's gotta be a problem that he had where he'd have to order them in a certain way. Okay, this is an interesting comment. Let's read it together. In 2048, tiles are being frequently removed and added to the grid. As a result, the order in which grid tiles are rendered is constantly changing after each recomposition. In order to ensure that each tile animates from its correct starting position... Okay, well, that's maybe not the... It's maybe not the right thing. Okay. Okay, that wasn't as insightful as I'd hoped. So it's not z-index then. I'm googling for Jetpack Compose z-index right now. Let me see if I can read anything from the source. Oh, did it happen again? No. Okay. Pretzel just paused, but it was okay. Alright, so z-index modifier that controls the drawing order for the children of the same layout parent. A child with larger z-index will be drawn after all the children with a smaller z-index. When children have the same index, the original order is applied. This is kind of straightforward. I wonder if I just applied this to the wrong place in the hierarchy. Wait, yes, I did. Didn't I? Yeah, I think I did. Hold on. I think I know what's happening. So the thing is, I think that this is the modifier that needs the z-index, but this thing doesn't know if it's being dragged or not. Maybe I can make draggable box itself know about this. Yeah, I should be able to. Hold on. I think I applied the z-index modifier to the wrong composable. It needs to be on the card component itself and not on the child that the card component puts on itself. There you go. So whichever thing, yeah, you can even see how it, if I do this and then I let go. Oh, wow. Sorry. So right now, if I drag this, then it'll move on top of all the others, even though they are drawn after. But if I let go, then you can see how my let go card will move behind the others again, and then move to the left. So it kind of moves into the background and then just disappears at the beginning again. Yeah, I'm not sure if this effect is desired, where it just moves. Maybe I'll make it so I kind of have an animation listener, and it starts listening when I let go, moves back, and then if that animation is done, then I will set the dragging parameter to false again or something. But for now, this is okay. This is good enough for me. All right. Yeah, this still doesn't take into account the real size correctly. Like this thing is a bit too much to the right, and this thing is a bit too much to the right as well. But I don't care. This is good enough for my purposes. All right, so let's get some more water. And then let's get going with building a grid based on a board. So this I don't need anymore. Right, okay, the game screen. We need to well, we have to draw a background, and then we have to draw the board. And then we draw the cards on top. And then we draw like other UI. Pretty much down here. Okay. Cool. So a board is a 3x3 grid. I think Alex Lockwood used draw behind, the draw behind modifier to render the background of each cell. I'm not sure I'm gonna do that because I think I'm just gonna draw the grid always, and then on top of that are gonna be the card components anyway. And since you can drag them around, it's okay if they are separate. Right, so a board grid. So the game screen will get a board passed in pretty much all the time. A board has fields. And a board also has a size. So what we're gonna do is we'll have 0 until board size. And that is gonna be for the rows. Then we have another loop, board until size, column. I'll need, again, the screen size. And I'm gonna have to draw a square. That's basically one, if it's a 3x3 grid, then it's gonna be 1/3 of the screen width, starting at 0, ending at 1/3, and then the second square is gonna start at 1/3, it's gonna go to 2/3, and then the next one is gonna go until the entire screen width. Thing is, that doesn't take into account padding, so this might need to become like a custom layout where I can give it some actual constraints, and then the constraints will define how big it can be. But I think I'm gonna do the layman's version today. I'm probably gonna define every image to be in the same spot, and then I'm gonna translate them over. So let me do it with image. So width is gonna be just say screen width divided by board size until we have some better thing. Oh, this is gotta be dip. Okay, well. Right, and then aspect ratio. I want this to be square. Background. Well, I kind of want to have a kind of checkerboard pattern until I have a real background image. So I'll have them alternate between, like, I don't know, a gray and then a darker gray, I guess, for now. So it's gonna be if they're all gonna have the same color for now. I wanna figure this out later. And then I'm gonna draw layer and translate them over. So we have translation X. And then translation Y. And this is also dip? No, it's float. So translation X is gonna be dependent on the column value. So for column 0, it's gonna be 0, and 1/3, 2/3. So I guess translation X is gonna be screen width times column. And this is gonna be Oh, hey Senya, how are you doing? Yes, it's card game time. So I'm trying it like that. Enter. Oh. Yes, this is gonna be pixel. All right. Alright. What card game is it gonna be? So I will be doing an adaptation of. Hold on. I will be doing an adaptation of the card game Triple Triad, which is the card game mini game from Final Fantasy VIII. I've been replaying that recently, and I was reminded of when I built a very small and primitive version of it in RPG Maker like a long time ago, and I wanted to like rebuild it, and I felt that the same UI like technology that I've been using for my travel app, I'm trying to figure out if I can use that to build a game as well. So that's why I'm starting today. That's why I started today trying to look into that. And right now I don't have much more than a few cards that you can drag around on the screen. So I wanted to get that working first. And now I'm building a very primitive board. And then next step would be like locking the like if you drag a card into a slot on the board, then it would like snap to it. But that's far in the future. Alright, I'm doing a box just for checking. I want to see if this works. Let's see. I just want to see if anything shows up here. I wonder. Oh, of course. Just gonna create an empty board size. Actually, I don't need give the size. Yeah. So yeah, I built a little bit of the game logic off stream in preparation for this. I'm focusing on the UI and UX first, so I'm not gonna build the game logic on stream unless there's like popular demand for it or whatever. But I want to focus this on the UI first, even though I don't have a design yet. Right. Okay. So these are all in the same place. They're all drawn to the top left. Okay. Oh, well, that's almost expected. Okay, don't work too hard. Hope you're having a good time as well. Thanks for stopping by. Sure, I'll let you know. Okay, so I have to. I'm doing a composable for the board, so board component. It's kind of annoying me having this stuff nested in the main composable. So I will do a private fun board component. Board. I'm gonna put that here. Right. Okay, so I do need a... Well, I do need an outer box. And let me give it a modifier from the outside. And then I'm making the content of this dependent on the dimensions given from the outside. So this is gonna be box. Then in here, so I'm gonna do this. This is gonna fill max width, and it is gonna fill max height, but only 50% of it or something. And then I can align this to be center. Gotta look up how I can... This is probably gonna be a custom layout container or something, because I'm not sure how would this composable now know how much space it can occupy. Oh well, you know what? I think... Couldn't this be done... I wonder if this could be done as a nested rows, pretty much like row after row. Right. Wait, hold on. Maybe I'm thinking about this too in a too complex way. So if this is a column, right? And then in here I just have 3 rows, I guess, for a 3x3 grid. So I'd still have this loop here. This would be row index. I would add rows. So first row, second row, third row. And then in here, I will add the field. Like this one would be the leftmost column. This would be... Let's just do a box because it's easier to... Let's actually do color random. Do I have color random? Let's do a random color. Just so that every field has a different color for starters. Right, and then this is gonna get weight 1F. And then every single box is gonna have weight 1F. And if I put 3 things in a row and all of them have the same weight, then they all will have the same width. And if I then make it aspect ratio 1F, that should make them square, not? Is that not how it works? I don't know. That's what I'm going with. Let's see if it works. I wonder, do I need the row index? I guess, yeah, eventually I will need the row index because this is just 1. And I do need the second. I do need the second line here saying, okay, make 3 boxes per row, please. And then maybe here I say, this is gonna fill like max size, pretty much. Or max width. Yeah, fill the max width. And then the boxes inside are gonna have weight determine their width, and then aspect ratio defining their height as well. And then this should make it center. don't know, it sounds okay to me. Okay. That is almost good. I wonder where the third row is though. I mean, this looks okay. Let's make this a text composable and give it a text that we can use to identify what indices these have. This is kind of close to what I want already. Oh, I see. I wonder what happens if I... Actually, first up, I want to give this some padding. What happens if I omit the height? Because I feel like this is not 50% of the height. Maybe I'll need to make this rapids content or something. What happens now? Okay, yeah, okay, perfect. So I don't need to give it fill max height. Padding is acknowledged. I can drag these on top because they are rendered afterwards. So yeah, what I would want to do is you take one card, you drag it, and then if you drag it to like say here, then if you let go, it'll kind of snap into position at this place. So basically, this should be kind of easy in terms of like calculations. So if you let go, then the app will figure out the closest distance to any of these fields centers. And if that distance is significantly small, like small enough, then it'll take that as the target. If it's an empty field, of course. If it's not an empty field, then of course it won't stick to it, but... Okay, yeah. The only other thing that I would like to do now is I'm gonna create 5 more cards at the bottom. And then color in the ones at the top in red, because I want the opponent's cards to be in red. And the opponent's cards to be on the top. And then one more thing. So the offset here is fixed. The offset is fixed, however, I would like it to be configurable. I'm gonna make this dip. so player 2's cards are going to get the initial Y of, let's say 32 dip. No, wait, I'm gonna do it differently. I'm not gonna give it the actual Y value. I'm gonna give it an alignment, I think. And then when the alignment is top, I wonder where is... Yeah, where is... Yeah, these. Where are these? Why can I not use them? Oh. So I feel like this is a bit wonky. This is really wonky, but I just want to see this be okay now. This won't work though. This is gonna make the... This is gonna make the bottom cards clip beyond the bottom. Yeah, I need to find some other way of defining this. This API is terrible. It will get better, but I need to figure out how. Alright, let's just do this. What? Yeah, this is another problem. This is another problem. In like landscape mode, we would have alignment start and end rather than top and bottom, and that would not work. So these things are the card component alignment things. They are not to be used. Okay, yeah, and that's what I meant. The bottom cards are 32 dips off the bottom, but that is the top edge of the card, and it's got to be the bottom edge of the card, which is at that position. So what we need to do is we'd have to like offset the card even further by its height, which is really annoying. I think I'm going to leave it like this, and when the new alignment things come, then I'll fix it. I think I fixed the weird shadow glitch that I had earlier. I don't know where that came from, but it went away as quietly as it came. So yeah. So what I'm gonna do to kind of end this stream, because I'm almost out of time, what I want to do is I'm just going to not return the cards to their initial position when I let go of them, and now I can pretend to actually play the game. So I'm gonna start with red. So red is gonna draw this card here. It's gonna snap into position, and then blue is gonna put the card here. It's gonna take over the red card, and then red is gonna counter with this guy taking over the card above, and then basically this is how the game is gonna be played. So you put the cards on the board. They're not all perfectly centered, but they will snap in place eventually. And then one card is always like spare. There's one spare card at the end of this. And that's the game, pretty much. And then whoever has more cards in their control at the end of this wins. And then there's more rules where by some mathematical like calculations, if two edges add up to the same sum, for instance, that's a special rule. If you have two edges where the opposing values are the same, that's a special value, a special rule. And all of these things are like factored in on top. But this is the plain as day basic rules. And I'm happy. I really like the drag behavior already. Yeah, I really do. I like that a lot. Really nice. All right. Triple triad. It's gonna be fun. I might be working on this a bit more in terms of logic and like trying to connect the game logic to the UI. I have prepared some things where the board will have knowledge of what has changed compared to the previous state, because the board itself is immutable. But if a move is being made, and that already works, if you make a move, that'll change the board state, and the new board would have the diff, pretty much. Kind of like a git diff. It would have a difference between it and the last state. And those can be animated and used in the UI, hopefully, by Jetpack Compose to like do animations and all these kinds of things. So that's where I'm hoping this is gonna go. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna be doing a bit of UI design and trying to figure out where I want stuff to be. I do need to figure out where and how I'm gonna do this alignment thing for the cards, because that API I don't like at all. I was kind of winging it, and I want this to be better first. Yeah, cards are gonna get a state, because the same card composable is gonna be either rendered in the hand or on the board, and once it's on the board, you cannot change it anymore. So that has to be mapped to some sort of UX and UI state. Other than that, yeah, good first episode on this project, I think. Fun. And then I will prepare a bit of design for how the cards should look in the end and stuff. Right. Cool. Yeah, so that'll do it for today. Be streaming next week. Probably in EST evening again. Until then, hope to see you there. Take care. Bye bye.